bring in Councillor Harkin, who asked me earlier.
You, Chair, and I join you in supporting the writing of a letter to call for the proposed cuts to BBC Radio Foyle to be reversed, and I want to commend everybody and all the organisations and parties that joined the protest at Radio Foyle. I think it was very well received by workers and anybody that wants to see the service protected and expanded. And what I wanted to raise is in relation to the health service strikes, which began on Monday, where workers now across the health service are taking industrial action short of a strike before they actually go out and strike on the 12th and the 15th and the 20th. And I'm sure people might have seen this, but in response to the beginning of industrial action, the Tory without a minister, Nadeem Zahawi, said that these strikes will assist Vladimir Putin's tyrannical war in Ukraine. And I think that these are really disgusting remarks that the minister has made. I think that they're reckless, and I think that they're obviously untrue. And our council has taken a very strong position in support of our health and social care workers, and also in support of industrial action that they might be forced to take as they pursue a decent wage, a decent pay raise, safe staffing, and all the other demands that are linked to kind of protecting and saving our health service. I think that these remarks that the minister without a portfolio has made are designed to demonise health and social care workers, to undermine their effort to get a bit of equality, and to really create division where there is none, because the vast majority of people do support them and do want to see the health service protected. And this is, again, another example of a Tory party in crisis that are willing to blame anybody for problems that they've created. And they're trying to deflect the fact that they are, have cut workers' pay, have cut nurses' pay, have cut health service workers' pay now for many, many years. And this deflection just isn't going to work. So what I would like to propose as well is that we write a letter to the minister describing our dismay at his comments and calling for him to apologise to health and social care workers and withdraw the remarks. So that's what I would like to propose, Chair. I've got that written up if needed. If not, we can move on. Thank you again.
Thank you. I don't see any other speakers on this. I take it there's full agreement then that we write to the minister. Anybody? Okay. So, Shaun?
Can I just second it, just so the process is right, but absolutely no objection to it.
Okay, sorry. So what's the seconder? Rory Farrell?
Just very briefly, I'd just like to lend the SDLP's support to Councillor Harkin's proposal. Absolutely ridiculous comments coming from the minister without portfolio. And the real issue here is that our beleaguered health staff workers haven't got a pay raise, and they're not going to get a pay raise very soon. So we fully support the right to strike. We fully support the industrial action they're taking because they deserve a hell of a lot more than what they're getting at the minute. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other speakers on that. So it passes. Moving on to item 6, matters arising from open minutes of the Business Culture Committee held on the Tuesday, 8th of November. Anyone? Councillor Farrell?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. And it's BC 185, where we had discussed the jobs fairs in Derry and Strabane, which were really, really successful. So I'm stretching this a bit, to be honest. So I want to talk about job creation and job performance. And I know when we were last in this chamber in Strabane 2 months ago, I had asked the head of business to request a delegation from Invest NI to discuss job performance across this city and district. I understand that a meeting hasn't been scheduled as yet, but I've been doing a bit of digging, and this isn't something that InvestNI publish, or they don't issue a press release about it. But in the last financial year, across Derry and Strabane, InvestNI supported the creation of 67 jobs. And if we look at Belfast City Council, they supported the creation of 1,657 jobs. So for every job that they've supported in Derry and Strabane, they've supported 25 in Belfast. And if we look at the 11 councils across the north, Derry and Strabane is the third lowest. Mid and East Antrim and Ards and North Down are the only two councils that have lower job creation figures than this council area. And if we look at the 3,000 jobs that were created across the north last year, 2% of them were in our council area. So 98% of that total was elsewhere. So it's getting beyond ridiculous at this stage. So we need InvestNI to come to this committee to tell us what they're going to do to support job creation, to support local businesses, and to pump investment into this city and district, because what they're doing now isn't working. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else on that, or
Shaun, Harkin here.
Shaun Harkin?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I agree with Councillor Farrell. I think, look, that we've had a lot of promises about investing in Derry and in the Northwest. And when we look at the statistics that you've just laid out, it's just not true. It just isn't happening. And Garrett Harkin had an excellent article in the Belfast Telegraph this week about a jobs issue, which is Radio Foyle, and described it as simply another slap in the face to Derry. And you look at the number of slaps in the face that we've been getting. It's when it comes to InvestNI's job creation here, it's a slap in the face. You know, our rail is a slap in the face. The slowness of the expansion and the question of whether McGee will be properly expanded, and the list just goes on and on and on. So we should absolutely demand that they come in here and give us some explanations and answers. There needs to be a radical departure from their strategy as it exists right now. And we've said in here, there should be a dedicated office geared towards job creation and good job creation here in Derry in the Northwest. So fully support the proposal.
Councillor Jose?
Thank you, Chair. And it's just on the back of that, jobs, and I think perhaps more on skills. At a recent meeting in Burt, where I attended as chair of the Northwest Regional Development Group, another issue was raised with regard to InvestNI when they are bringing firms into Northern Ireland and looking at areas. One of the issues that investors obviously are concerned about is the skill base. I know this is not directly with regard to jobs, creating jobs for the city and district, but to get firms in does create jobs within our city and district. And the issue of the mismatch of skills, one of the things that InvestNI ignore is the skill pool that is relevant to our area that exists in Donegal. And you know that there are skills there that would enable firms to come to Derry City and Strabane, set up, and thereby increase the jobs opportunities for people within our own area. And I think that's something that InvestNI have overlooked. They ignore the geographic realities of the area that we live in. Thank you.
Councillor Heaney?
Thanks, Chair. Well, it's just like obviously the figures that Councillor Farrell has quoted are yet another example of the systemic failure issues within InvestNI. That there's a policy focus that is totally geared in one direction only, an unwritten Belfast first policy, and here we see it yet again. It's further argument and evidence, if it's needed, that we need the executive reformed, and we need a change of leadership within the Department of the Economy. They refocus Invest NI in a whole new fashion to start to properly service the people of the Northwest, and to join up, as Derek is suggesting, with IDA, and rather focused in a different direction. They have never viewed this region in the way that we view it and the way that we operate. They see it as competition more than an ability to cooperate. So we need to see the executive back, and the DUP need to get back to work. We need to see a change of leadership at that, and just to say that we support the proposal from Councillor Farrell.
Thank you. Is there anything else on item 6? Any more matters arising? A seconder? Do I have a seconder for Councillor Farrell's motion?
Happy to second.
Okay. We've seconded now, Roy. So move on to item 7. Is that you, Kevin? Steve? Steve.
Thank you, Chair. So item 7 is in relation to the All Ireland Shared Future Fund. It's to update members on successful application for 4 innovative projects. In total, this council had 5 successful projects, one of which is within environment and regeneration. And it's also to seek members' approval for contributions towards the business case preparation in advance of a full-scale application to the fund. So members will be aware that the fund opened, and as part of the fund, local authorities across the island of Ireland, including ourselves in Donegal, were asked to work collaboratively on cross-border projects. We were asked to produce exciting and innovative projects, and the first phase is the feasibility or pre-planning stage. So in our language, it's kind of the outline business cases. We've been successful as B&C within 4 areas. 1, Learning City exchange programme, which is between ourselves, Cork, Belfast, Limerick and Dublin. The Slieve Columkill tourism proposal, which is with ourselves in Donegal. The Atlantic Region and Creative Content proposal, which with Galway City Council, and also the RegTech proposal, which is ourselves in Donegal. The key issues are outlined. So the Learning Cities is building on the Learning Cities network that we have established with the other partners across the island of Ireland, and working to develop medium-term projects, and how we would scope that out in a series of other actions. The Slieve Columkill is looking at the potential for a Camino walk from in and around Killybegs, finishing in the city or vice versa, approximately take about 2 weeks. This is a very early stage concept, but has a lot of potential for tourism, and we're very keen to work now to outline that project and to put some more details on it. The Creative Content Programme will work with Donegal to look in the kind of space of the visual and physical arts. Potentially there could be capital project in terms of either community or companies looking on a kind of digital creative cluster. And the RegTech proposal is looking at that regulation technology sector and how we can build on expertise, how we can build on the expertise in the Atlantic Technology University in Letterkenny, the University of Ulster and the City Deal projects to really enhance these and take these to market so as we create an economic advantage for this region. So at this stage, as I say, there are a number of financial asks. So officers are recommending that we approve the progression of these projects as we work through the outline business cases. We will bring updates to committee as we work our way through it, that we agree the financial contributions as outlined in the financial aspect. And if members have any questions, happy to take them. Thank you.
Councillor Farrell.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks, Stephen, for the report. So I'm happy to propose this item on behalf of the SDLP. I think it's excellent news that we've had 5 successful applications to All Ireland Shared Future Fund. I think the fund in general is a fantastic vehicle to enhance cross-border collaboration and cooperation. And the projects included, the Learning Exchange Programme, the Atlantic Region Created Content, the Northwest Regulatory Technological Cluster, all sound really exciting. But the Slee Columkill, for me, is the one that sort of it really does something for your imagination. So ultimately, it's going to create a pilgrimage route along Derry and Donegal, along the route of where there's settlements relating to Columkill. We could have a Camino of the North. So I think it's excellent. But I've got one question. In terms of Northwest Reg Tech, it's a joint application between ourselves and Donegal County Council. Why is there a campus in Belfast?
Yeah, so it's building on existing work that Derry City and Strabane and Belfast City Council have been doing. So obviously, if you think about the companies that have located and in Derry and obviously also in Belfast, there's a concentration of fintech, but there's a concentration of companies who basically deal in regulatory technology, who are doing outsourced banking services really, and so. We've been working with Belfast for a number of years on a proposition which would have involved Belfast and Derry and Strabane. So what we felt was that given the unique cross-border location that we have, and given the fact that we have certainly got dual market access as part of the EU, UK, two different regulatory markets, that this would really set the Northwest apart. So in discussions with Donegal County Council, they were very keen. Also given job announcements recently, when you think about Fintru, who are located in the Letterkenny now, who are located here, who are expanding right across this region, and other companies, I think that the Northwest, actually, our proposition is even more unique than the sort of Northern Ireland sort of single proposition from a RegTech perspective. So that's why the Shared Island people were so keen on it, and they can see really the future in terms of being able to access both of those markets. It's actually our proposition and a wee microcosm as a cross-border region.
If it's just Derry City and Strabane
And
District
Letterkenny,
Council
sorry.
and Donegal, and it's called the Northwest Reg Tech, why is there going to be a campus in Belfast?
Not as part of the Shared Island. That's a separate project that's moving forward. So that's to facilitate. There's been a widespread amount of industry engagement. So the industry really developed this proposal and came to government to say, look, this is something that there's a gap in, and we feel that there's a niche. So that's a different funding pot, different thing. But ultimately, what you will have is the Northwest, but obviously also Belfast. Belfast does have an agglomeration of companies who are dealing in this sector.
That's a great news story. Do we have I see Councillor Heaney, are you looking to come on? You looking to second this? Do we have a proposer? Councillor Farrell proposed, so seconded. Do you want to come on, Councillor Heaney?
No, it's okay, Chair. Just want to confirm it. I've seconded it.
Okay. Councillor Hussey?
Thanks, Chair. This is slightly at a tangent to this. It's very welcome news, and congratulations to all involved in securing the funds and resources for those 4 projects. But with your indulgence, Chair, could I just ask a question of officers with regard to ERNACT? ERNACT is not part of the Shared Island projects, but it's an important element within all of what this committee and this department would be attempting to do. There are serious concerns with regard to the European changes which have occurred as a result of Brexit. In my position as chair of the Northwest, I have written to the Irish Prime Minister in regard to this. Are officers aware of the difficulties that may be coming down the road for ERNACT? And if so, what are their thoughts on it? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I'm happy to answer. I sit on the board along with Councillor Heaney and Councillor Martin Riley. So we are aware of the issues. We're trying to work our way through the board with our own legal team who are helping us and trying to ensure that ERNAC as an entity and as a partnership with Donegal survives long beyond the years that we have at the minute. So it's a very important vehicle for us in terms of funding in those areas. It's very important in terms of how we collaborate together, and predates a lot of even the collaboration we have at the minute in the Northwest Partnership. So we are very aware of the issues, and we're working very hard with ERNAC and with our colleagues in Donegal to resolve them.
Chair, through you, appreciate that, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll now just move on to item 8, which is open for information. It's update on procurement for marketing. Anyone on number 8 and number 9? Anyone, any comments?
Very briefly on the marketing one.
Mr. Farrell?
Yep, thanks, Chair. Very briefly on the marketing one. I see that we had 1, 2, 3, 4 tenders out, and the first 3 had a sort of local aspect. There was local companies that were successful, but the last one for corporate signage, the companies from way outside our council area. And I know we have to look at the bids and whatever delivers best value for money, but have we any understanding, have any local companies got the expertise or experience? Have they actually bid into this at all for the corporate signage one? Because I know CLS, I think they're in Armagh. Synergy, I think, are English. Is there anybody locally that has bid for that at all?
Stephen, want to come on this?
Yeah, happy to take it. I'm not aware of the details of that because I didn't do the procurement, but I can find out and come back. I mean, obviously we work very hard to encourage local companies to apply. We work with before the competition's open to help local companies compete. But then it's up to the market once they're open. But I can double check that and come back. I mean, I am aware of local companies that can do it. Whether they applied or not, I don't know.
Okay, so Stephen will come back with that. Moving on to item 10 and 11. Anyone, anything on item 10, Peace Plus update, or item 11, full fibre, Northern Ireland end of project?
Chair, if you allow me.
Okay, come on, who is it? Councillor McGuire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in terms of the full fibre, and just on a side to that, I was to get a report. I appreciate it probably was too short notice to have it for this meeting about the fibrous, the project stratum, and the areas that that were missed in that project stratum, and what the strategy is for that. But I know Stephen will bring it back probably next month. But the full fibre NI, this project here, could we have an update on like rural areas in the Derg, or what benefited from that? Just for example, if you have that information to hand, actually the Derg and Spurn probably, just to get a see who benefited from it. Thanks, Chair.
No, thanks, Councillor McGuire. A full list of the premises would have been taken, obviously, at the various approval processes in terms of what premises were getting lit up, and what the impacts would be. So I would need to just go back. There's I see a huge report attached within this. So I just want to go back and just check which ones of those may or may not apply to those areas. But as I say, those obviously were taken through. This project began, must be what, two years ago now. Obviously we would have taken this to council, to business and culture, and to various committees, and members would have approved all of the premises that would have been on that list. So I just need to double check and come back to you. And maybe the idea would be I could incorporate an FFNI update into the wider project stratum fibrous update. And actually, as it so happens, I noticed a meeting invite coming in their diaries for tomorrow from DFE, from BD UK, to give us an update on the harder to reach scheme that the UK government now is going to be collaborating on with DFE. So I'll actually be able to incorporate that into that update paper for January.
Councillor Hussey on item 10.
Thanks for permission to come in, Chair. I should have said at the beginning, not a member of committee. I appreciate that. Item 10, 3.4. We have a list of funding that has been agreed for the 39 project ideas across the 8 DEAs. And that's all very, very welcome. With regard to the final list item on that list of thematic district and S75 projects, is there any indication of what those projects might be? Because I note district is included in there, so there will be more cross-district projects that will impact across the DEAs as well, over and above the 39 projects which are internal to the particular DEAs. But I'm just wondering, is there any indication of where that 3.364 million would be going with regard to the thematic district and 75 projects? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Alderman Hussey. So the thematic projects were actually being discussed at this morning's Peace Partnership meeting. So at next month's update, we'll be able to, publish the outcome of the decisions that were going to be taken by the Peace Partnership Board this morning. So that detail will become apparent then. It's just that because the meeting was this morning, we didn't have time, obviously, to put it on today's committee report. So it'll be January, if not before, we'll get that information out.
That's appreciated, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on now to item 12 and item 13. If anyone wants to raise anything. Gone. Okay. Item 14. Before we move to confidential business, innovation and growth program. Okay, we'll move on to confidential for decision now. I'll wait for the nod that we're offline.